Hello, everyone. This is MMA Interesting Prospects podcast. Today, our guest is Jhonoven Pati, who recently won his fight on Samurai MMA 19. Hello, Jhonoven. How are you?
I'm good. How are y'all, man?
I'm good. And around a week ago, you won a really big fight against UFC veteran. But let's start from this because the fight was in Canada. So did you feel anything like different fighting outside of the country?
It was a little different, being in a different country, like the roads, driving, and sorts of that. But being in other people's backyards is nothing that we're not used to. So it was fun. It was a fun business trip. Nothing too crazy.
But it's probably like Canada is not not the worst place because like in Brazil the defense would definitely would be like more hostile towards you.
For sure, for sure. Yeah, we didn't have any hostile fans or anything like that. Um, Maybe I wasn't a big draw or something out there. Not a lot of people know me out there yet, but hopefully, we got to introduce ourselves and they know who we are now.
And definitely your performance was like super impressive one. You got some really good low kicks, like overall kicks, takedown defense. And in my opinion, you looked like you were like in a flow state that you looked really smooth. And if you can tell me, did you feel that it is like in the little bit like in the flow state?
Absolutely. I was talking to my sister about it, and I think I'm in a point in my career where I'm finally finding that comfortability inside of the cage where I am finding a flow state, and it's just somewhere where I feel like mentally, it leads me to where I physically can't be touched, and I was definitely there. I was definitely there mentally and physically and spiritually. I felt like it was my night, and I've never felt more comfortable inside of the octagon than I did that night.
Because it's like the confidence before the fight is one thing, but being in the cage and being the confident person there is probably quite a different thing because sometimes even when I'm speaking the fighters they like feel that they can't be beaten when they are in the cage, and I think that it was at least from like fans perspective a little bit similar in your situation.
Absolutely. Yeah. I believe that I didn't just talk it, I really walked it in there and I had that self belief through preparation. And it was my night. It was my night.
And after the fight, after especially like a really good win, what do you like to do?
Man, I like to find the best food or wherever I'm at and go eat some food, man.
Yes, and probably because your fight was, I believe, like co-main events, so it was like quite late. It's probably really hard to just go to sleep. You have to do something with like your team.
Yeah, absolutely. I took the team out to eat. I forget the name of the restaurant, but it supposedly, after my post-fight interview, I had a lot of people walk up to me and tell us where to go get the best poutine. So we went to some restaurant and it was phenomenal. It was pretty great. The restaurant that we went to had a great burger and had some poutine on the side. And yeah, we just had a great night to celebrate with my team.
And right now you are on the good winning streak. Of course, this fight was a big one. And do you have any like plans right now, or maybe your management team got some plans for you that maybe you know or have some kind of plans for yourself for this year?
So hopefully, that was enough to get us back into the show. The goal is to get back to the UFC. Hopefully, we did enough to show them that we're still relevant and that we can still compete at the highest level. But we're not, just putting all of our chips in one basket. If there's something that makes sense that comes across the table, we'll definitely take that. Because at the end of the day, I'm a prize fighter, and I have to provide for my family. So whatever comes across, I know God's going to lead us the right way.
And about your weight, because I think that right now you are in this moment of your career that probably like there is a bigger chance for you to get like a short notice fight than go to the contender series. And about your weight, how quickly can you make like middleweight limit?
If I had to make 85, I can make it this week. I know I have a nutritionist on the team that helps me get to where I need to be, and I try to stay low now. I understand in the later part of my career that I don't need to get high in weight, so I'm at a comfortable weight now. I had a little bit of food here and there since the fight, but I'm already back in the gym. I was back in the gym the next week I got back that Monday. So I understand how vital that is to stay ready. So I could go this weekend if I needed to.
Yes, and actually, if, sometimes this kind of things are happening, and even like I remember one fighter get like a Jim Miller fight, which was like a kind of UFC legend. So if you have a little bit luck, and of course you are preparing yourself for something like this for a short notice fight, you can get some big fight in the end.
Absolutely. Yeah. I just have to be ready. I can't be in a position where we get a call and I have to turn it away. I have to be able to say yes. I have to be in a position to put myself in that position to say yes and to be prepared for whatever comes. And I know something big is coming. So I just got to do what I'm supposed to do and prepare the fields for the rain.
And this fight, of course, was in Canada. And do you have maybe some kind of country or place in the world that you would like to fight? Just like place or the country.
Honestly, man, I would love to fight in Australia. I see that the UFC goes out there to Australia a lot. There's a lot of Samoans out there, and I'm Samoan. It would be an honor to go out there and fight in front of a lot of my people. But yeah, I was raised in the States. I'm American. I'm American Samoan. But like to have those roots, my both of my parents are from Samoa, so it would be really cool to be around a lot of the people that from my roots.
So the perfect place for your like the debut, UFC debut.
Man, that would be awesome. That would be crazy if they could take me out there.
And from your previous fights, did you have any like chance that your opponent like do some trash talking, or he did something that really wrong you, feel that he's not a good guy?
Uh, when we were at the weigh-ins, he was all the way up until they went live, he was cutting weight. So I guess he was a little bit of he was irritable and he was bothered. He was hyped during that. He will come in, get on the scale, and was like, he had a little bit of theatrics going, trying to talk to us. And I get it; it's the fight game, and some guys need that. They need to hype themselves up to make themselves feel uh, ready for the fight. Everyone saw the antics during the weigh-in, and maybe he was just excited that he made weight because, like I said, he was cutting all the way up until we hit the scales, and maybe he got excited. But as far as the theatrics, he's younger than me, and not too much younger. But when I was younger, I used to do things in that like that. I used to be real emotional. But now I don't wear my emotions out loud because the inevitable is going to happen. We have to fight the next day. So no matter what, we get to fight. So there's no need for me now. I'm just in a place where I don't need to prove anything before the fight because no matter what, the fight is going to happen. And at the end of the day, I don't want anything crazy to happen before the fight where I don't get my check because, like I said, I'm a prize fighter. I don't fight for anything else. I don't fight for fame. I don't fight for any of that. I don't fight for recognition. I don't fight for attention. I used to when I was younger, but the older I've gotten, I realize that this is a tool for me to gain, money to support my family. So at the end of the day, I don't let any of it get to me. But I don't think Yohan is a bad guy. I don't think he is at all. I think he had to hype himself up, and some guys have to do that. They have to tell themselves that they can do it, and it's a mental thing, like what I told you in our interview before the fight, right? A lot of it has to do with a mental. It's your mental aspect, and I think mentally he had to prepare himself and tell himself that he could win. But I wasn't going to let that happen.
Yes, and in the end, is one of the only jobs that you can beat beat someone legally, and there is no consequences. So the like trash talking or something like it, this is good, but in the end, you have to meet in the cage. So this is like part which really matters.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Yeah. Like I said, Johan's the number one out in Canada, and I went out there and I handled business in his backyard. So, like I said, I really, I think God has something set up for us.
And when, especially in the beginnings of your career, what was the part that was the hardest to learn for you?
I think the hardest to learn for me in the beginning uh, was humbleness, a little bit of this game. I was humbled off my very first fight. I was undefeated as an amateur. I was ranked number one coming out as an amateur, the number one amateur prospect coming out of Texas. I was 7-0, and I was matched uh, not properly against Ryan Spann as my first fight, and I was humbled. I was humbled. He put me to sleep. He choked me out. I didn't tap, but it let me know how real the sport was. Um, and how serious I needed to take it being a pro, going pro and going against one of the best. He was the number one pro in Texas at that time, Ryan Spann. I mean, look at him. He's in the UFC now as a heavyweight, and we fought at 185. So fighting Ryan Spann during that time was a big reality check for me to change some things in my career. I had dropped my manager after that, the manager that I had during that time, because that fight just should have never happened. But things that happened after that fight, it kind of opened my eyes and helped me to pursue this career all the way up to the point to where we're at now. So I think just that was the lesson that I learned, the humbleness, and putting a lot of respect on MMA. It made me respect all aspects of the game: jiu-jitsu, wrestling, striking. It just made me look at the game way more serious than I did then. I was a young kid thinking that I was hot shit, and I came out and I was like, nobody can beat me, and I was humbled.
Yes, but probably like many young fighters feel this kind of like invincibility that they can't lose, and in the end, like everybody can lose. So it's probably like matter of like young age.
For sure, absolutely.
And on Saturday, on Sunday, there will be, of course, like a big UFC card from White House. And from the card, what are you excited about? Which matchup?
Probably the main event, man. I'm really excited about the main event. I mean, I wouldn't put any money on it. I got to train with Justin Gaethje for a camp, and me and Gaethje are still friends till this day. So obviously, I'm pulling for Gaethje. But to put money on a fight like that would be crazy. But if anybody can beat Ilya, it would be Gaethje. You know what I'm saying? Gaethje is a guy that's been around the block. Gaethje's a guy that's willing to sit inside of that box and trade. And in small gloves, anything can happen. Don't get me wrong, Ilya is a freak, man. But if anybody has a chance, it's Justin Gaethje. So I'm just excited for that matchup. You never know. Um, Gaethje can shock the world, man. Like being putting a dog in a corner and you know hoping that the dog ain't gonna bite and the dog ain't gonna fight for its life is crazy. That's crazy talk. So Gaethje's back's to the wall right now, and people don't believe that he can do it. That makes him very, very dangerous. So I'm excited for that matchup.
Yes, and actually, many people like count him out in like a second Dustin Poirier fight in against like Paddy Pimblett. So probably you have you are saying really good things that if someone can make this kind of upset is actually him.
Yeah, man. Being an underdog is a big deal to me because I've been an underdog my entire life. I'm an underdog now. You saw the odds. I posted the odds with Yohan. Had about 3% of myself people voting for me. Everybody said Yohan was going to knock me out. I didn't feel anything in there. I think Yohan might have touched me once, if that. Um, it doesn't matter what people say. It doesn't matter what the analytics say. It doesn't matter. And I feel like being an underdog does a lot for a fighter. As far as for me, it does a lot for me mentally. So for a guy like Gaethje, a guy that has knockout power, a guy that has been a world champion, to say that this guy has zero chance is crazy to me. And I just think that he's been inside of the lab and he's been working. So like, don't don't be shocked if Gaethje, wins. Don't be shocked because the guy is capable of doing that. So I'm really excited for that fight, man.
But overall, like whole card is really good because it's obviously like interim heavyweight title on the line. There are a few really good other fights like Bo Nickel, like Diego Lopez against Steve Garcia. So probably in the end, like outside of being this kind of like huge card in White House, it's like overall like a great card with a lot of like championship level fighters.
Absolutely, yeah. Having two of my teammates from Jackson Wink on there is also a great ordeal. Having Steve Garcia, everybody knows Steve, Mean Machine. So Steve is on there and he has a great matchup. I think Steve takes that one. People are sleeping on Steve as well. He's another underdog. They call him the dark horse in that division, and I think Steve is about to show the world what I already know. I got to move with Steve, being out there with Jackson Winks, and every time I go out there, Steve's a great guy. That, and then you got Josh Hokett. You know what I'm saying? The new guy on the street, and Josh is a beast, man. People don't understand how humble Josh really is. All these characters that he's using, it's so he can get his bag. You know what I'm saying? He understands what prize fighting is, and look at where he's at now because of the way that he used the media. He understands and he's doing what he has to do to get paid. So, he's not out here selling his soul or anything because Josh believes in Jesus Christ too. He's just out here playing the game. And people can hate him or people can love him. The point is, even when people hate him, they'll pay to see him lose, which means what? That's revenue, that's money. He understands the game. So, yeah, man, the card is stacked. I agree with you. And there's a lot of talent on there. And I think it's going to be a great night of fights.
Yes, and definitely like Josh Brink, this kind of excitement and attitude also in the cage, because he's not a boring wrestler, but he's first of all like finishing almost everybody, and if not, it's like a fight of the like century against
Yeah.
Curtis Blades.
Absolutely, yeah, man. Like guys that are finishers, I feel like that's what the UFC loves. And I mean, let's be real. That's what the world of MMA fans love. They love to see finishes. They don't like boring fights. They don't like to see the grappling, unless you're grappling and beating somebody up. And that's what kind of fighter Josh and Mean Machine are. That's what kind of fighter I am. I got 100% finish rate. Like guys like that are must see TV. So to say that this card is not a great card, like I guess that's what we would say. Those people are casuals, I guess.
And about your like overall skills, let's say that you have a chance to add to your current skill set any kind of skill or just a technique from any other fighter, and which part of the game of other fighter would you like to take?
Man, honestly, it'd have to be Demetrius Johnson, just his overall skill, like his IQ, his fight IQ, or I would go with Wonder Boy. Because as much as people don't like, I feel like Wonder Boy doesn't get enough praise, but that guy's fast twitch is ridiculous. Wonder Boy's fast twitch is ridiculous. So it'd have to be between those two guys. That are still fighting. Or well, I mean, DJ is not still fighting, but he could be. But yeah, they have to be between those two guys, man. They're phenomenal fighters, and their IQ is ridiculous.
And DJ did in the flyweight division kind of things like you can do playing some games, because he was beating top level contenders with some kind of crazy techniques, like dominate them for 20 minutes and then finishing them. So it was like something absolutely beautiful, to be honest.
He was in a state of flow, like what me and you talked about. That's DJ. He was always in there flowing, man.
Okay, Jonathan, so many thanks for the time and for conversation. Of course, I hope that your next fight will be definitely a big one. Maybe it's some short notice fight, but definitely a big fight against really good opponent, and hopefully quite soon too.
Absolutely, brother. Thank you for having me, man.